Watching W.Media, and we are coming to you from the Chennai Cloud and Data Center Convention. Joining us now is our special guest, Mr. Chandra Mohan Singaram from the EverYondr group. Sir, could you begin by telling us about how you have seen the Indian cloud and data center industry grow and evolve over the years?
Okay. Thank you, Deborah, for having me in this session. So over a period of, especially the data center industry in the last 5 years has grown exponentially higher in terms of in terms of the megawatt of available capacity in the Indian market, considering that. It is mainly driven by the hyperscale kind of developers who are the major growth providers in this industry right now. So as on date by 2023, I think 23 or 24, the overall market potential in terms is around close to around 1 gigawatt of.
I think we've crossed that.
We are, it is. We are inching to. I mean, from a completion perspective, we are inching towards that. That is the 1 megawatt. However, going forward in the next 5 years, if we talk about the India specific market, I think we are going to grow at a very exponential and higher rate. And by 2030, the demand will be in the range of around 3 megawatt of, 3 gigawatt of compute power actually, where the demand will be more, but the supply will be less. So as an industry, we need to ramp up in order to catch up to the demand's requirement.
Speaking of catching up, we also have very ambitious dreams. In 2047, that's 100 years after Indian independence, India wants to be seen worldwide as a fully developed economy instead of the developing economy tag we've had so far. So what kind of a role do you think the data center industry can play in that?
Say, in terms of right now, the major buzzword is everywhere is about AI and MI, machine learning perspectives. So how this advanced new technologies like AI and ML is going to penetrate into different kind of industry verticals, right? From considering it, whether it is going to, what impact it is going to have in the life science or the healthcare facility side, or what impact it is going to on the financial market side, on the what is impact it is going to on the manufacturing side. So the one clear thing is that this AI is going to change the landscape of the entire industry. Going down the line perspective, there is going to be a greater adoption of AI infrastructure, going to come into all the sectors of the verticals of the industries. So considering that, I think there is a humongous potential which the data center as an industry will support in terms of multiple industrial verticals. So how well it will pan out, that is slightly a wait and watch, since we are in a very nascent stage right now. But I hope so that it will really grow at a once we are in once the AI and other things really goes into a maturation phase and other things, where the more of a training level model is already in place, where more of an inference kind of a workloads or comes into the existence, I think that will have a major impact, and there is going to be a tremendous growth trajectory in all the industrial verticals.
You're absolutely right, because AI adoption is not an option. Everyone has to do it, but it also places a lot of pressure on different aspects. One, are our data centers AI ready? Yeah. Are we still trying to catch up? Have we even figured out what we can do with AI? All those elements. Again, there's this pressure because as it is, data centers are major power guzzlers. Yes. AI requires a lot of compute power, and that puts pressure on scaling things up as well. Yeah. So are we approaching AI in the correct way? Are we still trying to figure out what to do with it? How are we responding to AI?
Say, from a market perspective, based on what I have current knowledge on perspective, is what I can say is that right now still AI is in a very, people are testing the waters. Say, at the end of the day, AI and all these advanced technologies requires a humongous capital investment. And it all boils down to whatever the capital, what is the revenue generation it is going to impact in terms of the business revenue side. So that nobody has a clarity till now, actually. It is all, everybody, there is a bandwagon, everybody is saying AI and ML, so everybody want to jump into the bandwagon. But really, from a business perspective, what is the revenue it is going to yield based on what is the massive amount of investment it is required from an AI perspective vis-a-vis an enterprise data center. It is a humongous. But what is the revenue it is going to generate. That is how the business leaders are. I think they are still in a wait and watch mode actually.
Do you think business leaders are also thinking about the other big challenge, which comes from the human aspect of it? Because data centers are run by people. Many of them require reskilling, many of them require upskilling, many of them are afraid that AI will steal my job, and there is an existing skills gap.
Yeah.
How do you propose we address that?
See, there are, from a skill gap perspective, as I will try to take this question from a physical infrastructure side, even though I am not a very much great knowledge from an active infrastructure or the actual AI application kind of a thing. See, from a physical infrastructure in terms of all your MEPs and other things, the kind of level of engineering, background, core engineering, or you can say that the core engineering support which is there is still a demand gap. I mean, what I say, the kind of manpower which is required for this industry is slightly a much more better, what I will say that much skilled resources, much innovative kind of a thought process is required with this industry when compared with a normal commercial development, with a data center development. See, commercial development is more of a standard template design and other things where that industry is there for nearly around 10 decades of it, and now it has been standardized. Now it is more of a numbers game actually. Whereas the data center industry, from a design standpoint, especially from a infrastructure, physical infrastructure perspective, it is going to develop. There will be changes happening every time because the kind of technology evolution it is happening. So it has to be. We have to update the technologies as we go forward, at least for the next 5 to 6 years, where I feel that there will be a technological upgradation. So to address that, the skilled manpower is required who are able to adapt to the changing dynamics of this industry.
There's another thing we need to look at, and that's sustainability.
Yeah.
Environmental responsibility is huge, and everyone must bear that burden. How difficult do you think is it to actually walk the talk on sustainability and utilize renewables and green energy sources? How much of a challenge is it?
Right now, based on my experience, right now, sustainability is right now like a deal catcher kind of a thing, which is right now, which is being used. But but there are people who are really right now looking at the perspective
So
of
fashion statement versus passion statement.
Passion statement. Now it is the trend is taking place, considering that, as you rightly pointed out, right now data centers are becoming a power guzzlers actually. And if you remember, in Europe, the society is up against data center players.
Yeah, very strict laws.
So even in Singapore, if it a couple of up to up to 2023, they are restricted.
There was a moratorium. Yes.
There is no need for new. They are not going to allow any new data centers. However, now the moratorium has been lifted, and they have specific PUE clauses which they have put. It has to be less than 1.4 or 1. If I'm not wrong. So I think the industry as well as the government, these all will that it has to create a data center policy specific to that, considering the sustainability requirement. It has to be a rule of law. I think that's where the greater adoption of this sustainability is also will come into place.
Also, I think customers are demanding it. It's not just the government creating an environment. Customers are also so much aware these days that they are demanding a certain amount of commitment to renewable energy.
Yeah, I fully agree. Even the customers, in terms of when you want to sign an agreement with your client, with your service provider or the data center provider, they are also very clear that what kind of a sustainability measures you have taken in place of. So that is also one of the good things which is driving the industry towards a more sustainability practices. So going forward, I think that the industry will move towards the liquid cooling, which is a major rather than from an air-side cooling. I will not say that air-side cooling is going to go away from this DC market, but the greater adoption of liquid cooling, since it has a better efficiency and other things, so that way the industry is going to mature actually.
Okay, now let's talk about the Chennai market.
Yeah.
After Mumbai, this is like the second biggest market in India. How excited are you about the Chennai market?
See, the Chennai market right now, I think, even though in terms of market size, if you talk about, Chennai is still next to Mumbai. Mumbai right now is where the 70% of the data center percentage. We service the overall, if you consider India, Chennai is in the range of around 15% in that range. However, going forward, I think that the Chennai market will be going to grow at a rate, considering that the news and recent accommodations of new policies and other things. However, what I feel is that there are certain things which the Chennai, I mean, from a Tamil Nadu perspective wise, which the government has to look into it is mainly on the power side. And in terms of the infrastructure cost, there are certain regulations where you have to give 10% of your land area for if you want to develop as a mandatory requirement, and there is certain areas requirement which you have to allocate for TNEB, the Tamil Nadu Electricity Board, which is as part of the guidelines and other things. So there should be some kind of a flexibility in this guidelines so that more players, because the mandatory clause has a huge financial cost.
So the regulatory environment has to change?
Yeah, it has to much more evolve, I think, especially on the power side.
Okay. Final question, sir. You have been a speaker here at the Cloud and Data Center Convention. You've been attending since morning. What has been your experience so far?
Yeah, I think considering the crowd right now, I think that the industry, there is I think that really it has, I can say that the kind of crowd which has come and kind of people who have attended, sorry to say that crowd, kind of people who have attended this session is really interesting, and as well as the kind of topics, it is not general standard kind of topics. Especially this session, what I found it is that the kind of topic selected for a discussion is also quite different, which is unique in this.
Thank you so much for talking to us. It was a pleasure interviewing you.
Thank you, Deborah.